Oh, nice. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and start by coming to lie on our back. So you can walk your feet as wide as the mat. Allow your spine to lengthen on the mat, on the ground. And you might allow your knees to knock together. Maybe you let your arms rest at your sides, or you could even bring your hands to rest on your belly. So allow yourself to start to tune into your breath and arrive here in this moment. And you might find that there's an intention for your practice this morning, something that brought you to yoga. And if there isn't, that's okay too. I'm going to offer the theme for class of the second niyama, which is called santosha. So the yamas and the niyamas are basically like the 10 commandments of yoga, part of the 8 limbs of yoga, which includes, the movements that we're going to be doing today. So the yamas are the instructions from yoga on how we might interact with the world. And the niyamas are yoga's suggestions about how we can interact with ourselves. So the second niyama is called santosha, which means contentment. And I just have a few quotes to get us started today from the book, The Yamas and the Niyamas by Deborah Adele. There is a Japanese proverb that states, "The noise does not disturb you, you disturb the noise." What this proverb so brilliantly taught me is the reality that when I'm upset by noise, I am the one who is disturbing the flow of life, not the noise. It is not easy in this culture to stay content. So, how do we get there? And how do we stay there? Practicing gratitude protects us from our own pettiness and smallness and keeps us centered in the joy and abundance of our own life. So, if that idea of contentment and gratitude speaks to you, you might allow that to be your intention for your practice today. Can you cultivate gratitude for your body, your health, your friends, your community, and your life? Allow whatever intention speaks to you to plant itself at your heart center. And then you might imagine like a seed. With each inhale, allow that seed to grow, vining through your body and connecting you to the earth. And then we'll invite some movement into the body. So with your knees up towards the sky and your feet as wide as your mat, you can allow the knees to gently cascade over to the left. Maybe you send your gaze gently over to the right. And then inhale back to center. Exhale, allow the knees to fall over to the right. And your gaze might cascade over to the left. And just go ahead and allow yourself to windshield wiper the knees gently side to side. Noticing any sensations in the body. Maybe tuning into the chirping of the birds and the grazing and caress of the wind across your skin. When you feel complete from left to right, you can draw your knees in towards your chest, roll your nose up towards your knees, and maybe begin to rock and roll gently along the spine. And then whenever you're ready, you can rock up into a seat. And before we get started, I just thought we would talk about the Ujjayi breath. That was some question that came up last week. So the idea of the warrior breath, Ujjayi breath, is to allow yourself to come into like a meditative practice where you can really hear the breath. So if you want to close your eyes and then imagine you're fogging up a mirror. Allow your tongue to rest at the soft palate, or actually at the palate right behind the front of your teeth. And then allow a slight constriction in the throat. And you might start to listen for your breath, like the sound of an ocean wave. It's like when you pick up a big shell at the ocean and you can hold it to your ear. So the purpose of coming into this breath is you might notice that during times of stress in your life, you maybe can hold your breath. And this is actually maybe counterproductive and makes you a little more stressed. So what I've noticed is after years of practicing yoga, if I can focus on the breath, then in times of stress, when you're off of the mat, you might be able to access that breath just as an automatic reaction. So during class today, I'm going to cue you with my breath, but I always want you to feel at liberty to pace yourself according to your own breath. So don't hold the breath. Don't try to, necessarily match exactly what I'm doing, but just realize that you want to keep breathing. And so with Ujjayi breath, we're breathing in and out through the nose, and we can lengthen the inhales and the exhales. So we can even add a count to it. So you might inhale for 3 to 4 counts through the nose, and then retain the breath, and then exhale through the nose for the same count. And just feel free during class to take your time, tune into the breath. If you find that your thoughts become wandering towards plans for the future or thoughts of the past, you might gently remind yourself to bring your awareness back to the breath and maybe even back to the intention for your practice. You can flutter the eyes open, and then with the next exhale, allow your chin to tuck towards your chest, finding length through the back of your neck and maybe a gentle stretch through the upper back. And then take an inhale, and on your next exhale, you can float the right ear over towards the right shoulder, finding a stretch through the left side of your neck. Allow your shoulder to melt away from your ear. And you might invite a little bit of movement here, gently nodding the head yes. And then gently shaking the head no. You might bring your right hand now up to the left side of your neck and gently massage from the base of your skull all along the side of your neck down towards your shoulder. Maybe smoothing out any areas of tension or holding there. Maybe there's a knot that you can help relieve. And then we'll bring our hand back to our knee. You can allow the chin to tuck once more towards the chest, lengthening through the back of the spine, back of the neck, and then allow your left ear to fall over towards your left shoulder. Once more, it might feel good to invite a little bit of movement, nodding your head yes, thinking about what you would like to invite into your life. Practicing saying yes to new opportunities. And then gently shake your head no, releasing that which does not serve you. Practicing saying no. And then you might bring your left hand up to the right side of your neck and gently massage along the side of the neck from the base of the skull behind the ear, finding any places of tension. And just giving yourself a gentle massage. And then with your next exhale, you can release your hand back onto your knee and gently allow your chin to cascade down towards your chest. And then we'll inhale to come back to center. When you're ready, you can either roll over your shins to come into tabletop or just swing your legs around. We'll find hands and knees with your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. With your next inhale, drop the belly, rounding the spine down, reaching the heart forward through the front of your biceps. And then exhale to round the spine, coming into cat, drawing your belly up towards your spine. Go ahead and take your own time, following the pace of your own breath through a few rounds of cat and cow. After a few rounds, it might feel good to draw a circle with the belly button. Imagining you could trace into all the different directions that the spine can move. Imagining you're tracing the inside of a hula hoop. And when you're ready, you can reverse the direction of your circles. Take one more round in whichever direction you're going. And then we'll come back to meet in a neutral spine. And go ahead and turn your gaze behind your right shoulder and bend your right hip towards your shoulder, wagging your tail. Inhale to come back to center, and we'll wag over to the left, reaching the gaze behind the left shoulder, bending the hip towards the shoulder. And go ahead and do that one more time on each side. And then we'll meet back in center. And you can bring the big toes to touch, open the knees wide, sink the hips back, and walk the hands out in front, lowering the forehead down to the mat for child's pose. In your child's pose, you can relax all effort. Allow yourself to settle in and feel the support of the earth rise to meet you. You might sense the hug of gravity holding you to the earth. We'll take one more nice deep breath in child's pose. And then you can press yourself up and walk your hands over to the right, reaching your left arm long away from your hip. You might turn your gaze underneath your right armpit, allowing your left temple to rest on the mat. Find length all along the left side. You might imagine your breath like the wave of an ocean, smoothing down the left side of the body. And then when you're ready, we'll walk it back over, reaching the right arm long. You might turn your right temple down towards the ground. Turn your gaze under the left armpit. Find length all along the right side body. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then coming back to center, let's come back up into tabletop. From here, you're going to take your left foot and kickstand it over to the left. Extend the right foot back and then reach the right arm up and overhead for a side plank. You might reach your left or your right hand past your right ear. And then on the next inhale, we're going to use the strength of our core to rise to center. And then extend the right hand down the right leg. Reach the left arm up and over for gate pose. On the next inhale, you can sweep it back through center and then exhale to land the left hand. Maybe this time you float the right foot behind you. Imagine you're able to stand on a wall that's behind you. So this is a baby half moon. And then we'll inhale to rise back to center. Extend the right hand down the right leg. Reach the left arm up and over for gate pose. Inhale back to center and exhale to land the left hand. Kick the right foot behind you. And one more time, we'll come back up into gate. And then exhale, float it over. And you can land the right hand down, land the knees down. And then it's yogi's choice. If you'd like, you can take child's pose for a rest in between sides, or you might take downward facing dog. Tucking the toes under, extending the hips up and back, maybe sashaying the hips a little side to side. So I like to give you options so that you can feel that you can take anything that serves you, that works best for you and aligns with your intention. When you're ready, we'll come back to hands and knees, and you'll notice I switch sides because we're going to be switching sides. So we're going to kickstand the right foot out this time behind you, extend the left leg back, swing the left arm up and overhead, and you might reach it up past the ears. This is a modified side plank. When you're ready, you can inhale to rise through center and extend the left hand down the left leg, reach the right hand up and over for gate pose. Exhale, we'll swing it back to center, land the right hand, and maybe you want to extend the left foot behind you for baby half moon. Inhale, we rise to center for gate pose. Exhale, reach it over for our baby half moon. Inhale for one more gate pose. And exhale for baby half moon. You can land that back foot now, and we'll sweep the left hand down towards the ground. Come back to your tabletop and either find child's pose to rest or downward facing dog, whichever feels right for you. Take a nice deep breath wherever you landed. Come back to tuning into your breath. And then when you're ready, we'll meet up in tabletop. And you can come onto your forearms now. And let's extend the left leg back, tucking the toes under, pressing the heel towards the mat, finding length through the back of the calf, sending the breath cascading down the back of the leg. And when you're ready, we'll switch sides, returning the left knee to the mat. Extend the right leg back behind you. Tuck the toes under. Press the heel towards the mat. And find length through the back of the calf. We're about ready to turn this into a forearm plank. And so you can leave that right foot on the mat and you can extend the left leg back. You can always lower onto the knees for a little more support and take a few rounds of breath in your plank. Drawing the belly towards the spine, you might come back to the idea of gratitude and find all of the things that you can list in the mind that you can feel grateful for. And then whenever you're ready, you can gently lower onto the belly. We'll plant the elbows underneath the shoulders, press the palms into the mat, and then energetically drag the hands back as you reach the heart forward for Sphinx pose. Finding a nice gentle back bend. When you're ready, you can bring the elbows out wide to the side, stack the palms, and lower the forehead to the back of the palms for crocodile pose. Allow yourself to soften here, relaxing all effort. And then when you're ready, we'll swing the hands around behind us with the palms facing up. You can turn your gaze to the left and allow your right temple to rest on the mat. This might feel like a nice stretch for the side of the neck. Maybe you feel a gentle pressure against the temple, noticing if you have tension there that might like to release with the breath. With your next inhale, we'll bring the gaze back to center. Lift the chest, lift the arms, and lift the legs for locust pose. You could stay right here, or with your next inhale, you might swim the arms forward. Exhale, swim them back. Inhale to swim them forward. Exhale to swim them back. And one more time. Inhale, swim it forward. Exhale, swim it back. And then with your next exhale, you can turn the gaze to the right and allow all of your effort to relax onto the mat, allowing the left temple to press against the mat. Allow yourself a moment to delight in this time of rest. And then we'll bring the palms underneath the shoulders now. You can press the chest up, kind of like our Sphinx pose. And you might allow the hands to softly hover above the earth for baby cobra. This time leaving the tops of the feet pressing up against the mat. On the next exhale, release your forehead down towards your mat. And then we'll tuck our toes under. And you can press up through either table or plank. And then you can either find child's pose or downward facing dog. Whatever feels best for you today in your body. Take a few rounds of breath here. And then we'll all meet up in a forward fold. So if you're in your child's pose, you might come to tabletop, then to downward facing dog. You can walk your hands to your feet or your feet to your hands. And then we'll ragdoll here so you can hold opposite elbows and allow yourself to gently ragdoll side to side. Once more, you might shake your head no, practicing saying no, and nod your head yes, inviting in new opportunities. And then we'll release our hands down towards the mat, and you can slide the palms up onto the shins or the thighs and press into the shins to inhale and lift up halfway with a flat back, pointing the crown of the head directly in front of you. Exhale to forward fold. And we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. One last time here. Inhale for halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. Go ahead and bend into the knees and allow the spine to roll up one vertebrae at a time. And then we'll meet it standing. You can inhale to reach your arms up overhead. Exhale to draw the hands to the heart center. Inhale to reach them up overhead. Exhale to draw them in. One more time like this. Inhale to reach. Exhale to bring the hands to the heart center. From here, we're going to come into chair pose. So you can have your feet around hips distance, and you can leave your hands either at your heart center, or if you want a little bit more stability, you might bring your hands onto your hips. And then we'll sink the hips back, imagining you're sitting in a chair. You might float the arms up past the ears or leave them at the heart center, whatever feels best for you. Use the strength of your core here to hold you upright. With the next exhale, let's float the hands back behind us, and you can lift the heels coming up onto the balls of the toes for drinking bird. Exhale to lower the heels, and then inhale to sweep the arms up past the ears. Exhale to float the hands back, lifting up onto the heels. Inhale to come back to chair, lowering the heels, lifting the hands. And then one more time, exhale to float the hands back as you lift the heels. Inhale, we'll rise to center, standing in your mountain pose. Exhale to bring the hands to heart center. Let's step the feet out wide and shake it off. You can allow your hands to graze your sides. And then coming to the long edge of your mat, I like getting a cue from Candace here. So we'll stand with the feet as wide as feels comfortable for you, and you can pigeon toe the toes slightly inward. Let's inhale to reach the arms out to the side, coming into a starfish shape. Allow yourself to find length, taking up space, And then with your next exhale, you can glide your hands behind you and maybe interlace them at the base of the spine. With the next exhale, we'll lead with the heart as you hinge from the hips to come into a wide-legged forward fold. You can allow the hands to continue to rest at the low back, or if it feels good, you can extend the arms out long, allow the knuckles to fall overhead to find a nice gentle stretch through the shoulders. And then on your next exhale, release the hands to the low back. Allow the fingertips to graze the back of the legs, and you can land the hands out in front on your mat. Let's plant the right palm in front of the face, and then you can reach the left hand over towards the right foot. And then we'll inhale to sweep the left hand up towards the sky and maybe gaze up. Exhale to sweep the left hand down towards the right foot, like thread the needle. And then inhale to sweep the arm back up overhead. One more time like that. Exhale to release, reaching the hand down towards the right foot. Inhale to open the left arm up. And then exhale to release. We'll bring that hand back down to the mat. You can replace the left hand in front of your face. And this time we'll reach the right fingertips towards the left foot. And then inhale to sweep the right arm open towards the sky. Exhale, release the fingertips towards the left. And let's take 2 more rounds like that. Inhale to sweep it open. Exhale to release. Inhale, we sweep it open. And exhale to release. And then go ahead and plant both palms. You can bend into the knees, bring your hands to your hips, and we'll come up to center into our wide-legged stance. Now let's shimmy the heels into 45 degrees. Well, your toes are actually at 45 degrees. You can bring your hands, your hands to your hips, and then start to sink your hips down into a squat. You might bring your hands onto your thighs. And if it feels good, you might just adjust your position and maybe you lower all the way down to a yogi squat, whatever feels best for you. And feel free to adjust the positioning of your legs. And then from here, we'll extend the right hand out to the side. Inhale to reach the left arm up behind you. Exhale, bring the hands back to center. You can bring them into prayer, pressing the elbows maybe into the thighs. And then extend the left arm out. Inhale, the right arm open. And then exhale, we'll bring the hands back to prayer. And you can plant the palms on the ground as you lift the hips to a forward fold. Let's bring the hands to the hips, and you can lift the chest to come back to standing. And you can either heel toe your feet back together or just walk them back together, or maybe even jump, whatever feels best to you. Now we'll walk to the front of our mats. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale to swan dive forward. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And then you can plant the palms and walk the feet back to find downward dog or tabletop. Take a few rounds of breath in downward dog, tabletop, or even child's pose. Whatever feels best for you. And then from here, we'll all meet in a tabletop, and you can walk your knees forward and sink your hips back. So we're going to come into a seated position here. So your feet are out in front, your knees are pointing up towards the sky, and we can do lots of different variations with boat. So you might extend your arms long and maybe finding some strength building in the core here. Or you might bring your hands to the back of your thighs and then allow yourself to tip back, finding balance and strengthening through the core. Maybe you'd like even more challenge and extend the arms. So whatever feels best for you. And then whenever you're ready, we'll land the feet and you can allow yourself to glide down onto your back. Once more, you might draw your knees into your chest, give yourself a gentle hug, maybe rock a little bit side to side. You might begin to draw your knees towards your armpits and walk your hands up onto your ankles, or maybe the knife edge of your feet. And just allow yourself to come into happy baby pose. You might feel like it feels good to rock a little side to side, maybe land on one knee, extend the opposite leg long, and then find the opposite knee and extend the other leg long. Take a moment to allow the edges of your mouth to curl up, smiling warmly on yourself in this happy baby pose. And then when you're ready, you can release your feet down to the mat. We'll cross the left ankle over the right thigh. And you can either stay right here, or if you'd like to find more stretch in the outer left hip, you might draw the shape to the body, interlacing the hands behind the right thigh or holding on to the sides of your pants. Notice if you can soften through the shoulders. Where can you relax your effort? And then we'll turn this into a twist. So you can extend your arms out to the side and then allow the shape to float over to the right, landing the left foot on the mat. You could stay here, or if this is too much, you can always stack the knees to come into a gentler twist. If your left foot is planting down on the mat, you might reach your right hand for your left foot. And maybe you give a little massage to the area where your foot meets your leg, just that place at the ankle might feel good. Maybe you extend your gaze over to the left and just allow yourself to settle into your twist. Whenever you're ready, we'll unravel our twist, coming back to center. Give yourself a nice big hug once more. Maybe reaching your nose up towards your knees, hugging your knees towards your chest. And then you can release your head down, relax your feet onto the mat. We'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh. This might be enough of a stretch for your outer right hip, but if you'd like to deepen it, you can draw the shape towards the chest and maybe wrap your hands around the back of your left thigh or grasp hold of the sides of your pant legs. Allow yourself to soften your effort, balance it with your ease. You might deepen the stretch by pressing the right knee away from the body. Notice if you can relax the shoulders. Whenever you're ready, you can turn this into a twist by extending the arms out to the sides and maybe allowing the legs to softly land over to the left. If it feels good, you could reach your left hand down to massage the connection between your leg and your foot, sending gratitude to the foot. And if this version of a twist doesn't work for you, you can soften it by just stacking the knees. You might send your gaze over towards your right hand. And feel free to stay in your twist as long as you'd like. For the last few moments of class, we are going to be coming into our Shavasana. So feel free to find any position that feels good to you. Perhaps if there's a tree handy, you might want to extend your legs up the tree. Or if you liked that first position we came into, you could come back into constructive rest pose, or you can just allow your legs to extend long, allow your arms to rest at your sides. Feel free to take up lots of space. And if there were any last shapes that you felt you needed to complete in order to end your practice, you would be welcome to explore those too. As you come into your final resting pose, notice if you can soften your forehead. Allow the eyelids to smooth out. Release the hinge of your jaw and allow your shoulders to melt heavy into the earth. Take one moment to revisit your intention for your practice. And I'll just end the class with some words from the book by Deborah Adele on the yamas and the niyamas, revisiting the idea of santosha, contentment. The Buddhists speak of developing an abiding calm, a centeredness that is unshakable. Like a tree so rooted in the earth that great winds cannot topple it. This is the image of contentment. It means not riding the waves of ups and downs of life. We stay in the abiding calm center that contentment invites us into. The practice of gratitude and non-seeking can help us stay rooted in this jewel. Contentment is falling in love with your life. And that's a quote by Swami Rama. We'll take a few moments to enjoy the calm and abide in that center of contentment. If any thoughts start to creep in, plans for the day or thoughts of the past, you might invite them to gently float on by like clouds passing through the sky. You can begin to deepen your breath, start to become aware of the sounds around you. Feel the breeze caress your skin and start to invite some movement into your fingers, into your toes, gently rotating the wrists and the ankles. And when you're ready, you can inhale to reach your arms up past your ears, finding a long body stretch. And then when you're ready, you can draw your knees towards your chest and roll onto one side to find a fetal position. Maybe you might rest there for 2 more rounds of breath. And then whenever you're ready, you can press yourself up into a seat. And you can invite your hands to meet at your heart center. Allow your head to gently bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. The light in me sees and honors and appreciates the light in each one of you. Thank you all so much for being here and sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. And my name is Micki. If you have any questions or thoughts about class, you can let me know. I'm just going to stop this recording.